Hey, what's up? This is Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz. This is my weekly video blog called Bullheaded, a review of the Houston Texans news as well as a preview of the upcoming game matchups. So, this week the Texans will have their home opener against the Baltimore Ravens, who are coming off a blowout win over the Cleveland Browns. Speaking of blowouts, to prepare for this game, the Texans are going to have to forget about their blowout loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, which happened in Week 1 on Thursday Night Football. But with that being said, before I even get into the Baltimore game this weekend, let me go ahead and touch a little bit on this Kansas City. Let me touch on this Week 1 loss, just to get a few recaps from that. So, obviously, poor showing from both our offense and our defense. Our defense, in particular, gave up over 166 rushing yards. Obviously, a very bad thing, considering it helped generate like a couple of long touchdown drives from the Kansas City Chiefs, including a 91-yard drive, or 91-yard scoring drive in the second quarter. So that's a huge, that's a huge red mark right there for our defense as well as our defensive coordinator. And you know what? I can chalk that up to no preseason, as I'm probably going to chalk up this overall performance by the Texans for having no preseason. Before I jump on that, let me just finish up with the offense and saying they weren't too much to write home about either. I guess the only standout that really happened was David Johnson, ironically. And David Johnson, that was the guy that everybody was like, I can't believe O'Brien traded, D Hop and brought back David Johnson. And that's still like not letting O'Brien off the hook for that trade. But that's crazy to see that, out of all the expectations that we had for this offense, to see like who would actually perform better. That's the one thing that just kind of stood out to me, that he was kind of like one of the more productive members of the offense on that particular day. Another one, Will Fuller had 8 catches, 112 yards. A lot of those catches, probably came in like the second half, when it came in later in the second half, when the game was like way out of reach. So that is what it is. And just basically going back to my whole preseason comment, no preseason comment. All the teams across this league had no preseason. So there were some that lost, and there were some that won games. So there's no excuse for the Texans, who were one of the better teams from coming off from the previous season, to come out here and play the way they did. There's no excuse for the trade, we didn't have Hopkins, and blah blah blah. No, despite all that, you still have to go out there, you still have to perform. It is what it is. That's just the bottom line. You have to go out there, perform against these guys. It don't matter if you had Hopkins or not. You just need to get over that. Team has to, go out there and perform. There's no excuse for what they did, for how they played last week. And so hopefully they have all those things corrected. And if they don't, well, they better figure it out by Sunday, because coming into town is the Baltimore Ravens, who we got blew out by last season. They will be coming into town, and they will be here for our home opener. So Texans, they do have something to look forward to. They will be, kicking off the home regular season or whatever. Won't be any fans in there. I think there's going to be doing like a lot of cardboard cutout seats and all that, just as a lot of stadiums are doing over the last weekend, and that's fine or whatever. So with that being said, man, Texas just gotta just strap it up, and they just gotta get ready to take on this Baltimore Ravens team that they looked pretty tougher last weekend against the Cleveland Browns. So Here's a couple of things that Texans need to do in order to snatch up this W this weekend. So, first and foremost, of course, you have to slow down Lamar Jackson. He's coming off his MVP campaign. He's looking like he's trying to rev things up a little bit more. And so it's pretty much still the same Lamar Jackson with no preseason, might I add. One of the things I was looking at some of the highlights from last week's game against from his game last week against Cleveland, and one of the things I noticed, he has a little bit more confidence in passing to the wide receiver. He had recorded. He threw, I guess, Hollywood Brown had 5 catches for 101 yards, leading receiver for the Ravens in that game. And after him, I believe it was Willie Snead. Had 4 catches for 64 yards. So I think that's something that I think that's something that those coaches are really going to push is him like going after the wide receivers a little bit more as opposed to when last year a lot of his touchdowns seemed to just be going to tight ends. I think he had like 3 different tight ends that he was just chunking to like every week. So now I think they're really trying to push him to go, to the outside. And it's still like an early thing, I feel. I don't know if he's like there yet, but I will. But with that being said, I will say like challenge him on that. Take away his tight end options because he's still chunking the ball to them as well. But take away his tight end options and just force him to beat you with his arm. Going to his outside receivers. You know what I'm saying? So let's see what he really has like as far as like throwing to the wideouts because that was something that the Tennessee Titans tried to make him do in the second round of the playoffs last season, and they were kind of successful in exposing him for not being able to do that. So I would say just try to force him to beat you, force him to beat you with his arm going to the outside receivers. In addition to that, just still be aware of his rushing ability because he can still run it. Don't get it twisted. He might be trying to expand his skill set a little bit more with his passing, but he's still dangerous on the run. And in turn, those running backs are still out there. Mark Ingram, he's still really a tough runner that you'll have to take down as well. So I would say definitely still be aware of what his rushing ability is. Zach Cunningham, he might need to be, serve as a spy just to kind of keep his eye on Lamar, make sure he doesn't break out anywhere. Just really kind of keep him within that pocket so he doesn't break out and make too many other plays. The next thing I want to talk about is furthering the run game from week 1. So as I mentioned, David Johnson, he has 11 rushes for 77 yards. And so I think, I I don't want to say that was a fluke, and I hope that wasn't a fluke because I think there's a real opportunity here to kind of use that against the Ravens. Their whole big thing, is rushing as well, but defensively, they gave up 138 rushing yards in Week 1 against the Browns, and so them giving up 138 yards, to Cleveland's running backs of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, who both had 5 yards a rush, who both averaged 5 yards a rush against that defense last week. I think there's something there. There's something there to be exploited within that Ravens defense, and I think at this time, while everybody's still kind of gathering around what their identity is, while every team is gathering their identity on both offense and defense, I think the Texans definitely need to take advantage of this. Get David Johnson, try to get him started early enough against that run defense, as well as Duke Johnson. Get him started early enough against that run defense, and where they can establish a rhythm. And wearing that Ravens defense down, getting long drives, and just keeping Lamar Jackson off the field. It's definitely something that they need to, Texans definitely need to exploit that weakness from the previous week of that Ravens defense, and just kind of use that as a huge weapon against them to get things going. Other than that, I did have two things listed down that they needed to do to win. My third thing is, just go out there and just play and just kind of let the sideline generate the energy. I've been watching a lot of these NBA bubble games, and one of the things that the announcers, they kept saying is, key, since they don't have any fans either in their bubble games, is like, the sidelines are generating the energy for these guys. So that's what I would say would be key in this particular game, especially when an opponent as tough as the Ravens. Just generate that, aggressive, like just let the sidelines generate that hype for the team. Not sure how the crowd noise or the artificial crowd noise is going to play a factor into that for this home opener, but definitely just kind of get hyped for the just kind of make the crowd noise for the team just to get everybody hyped on both sides of the ball. You know what I'm saying? So definitely slow down Lamar, make him pass more, challenge him to pass to the wide receivers more, exploit the Ravens' run defense from the previous week, and just have the sidelines generate some energy for the team. Those are my three things Texas can do to win this game. So that's all I got for y'all this week. I'm Brandon Simmons from BrandonSimmons.biz. Holla black.